Have you ever heard an argument that sounds confident, but something about it just feels off? You listen, you follow along, and then suddenly you think, wait, how did we get there? That feeling is often caused by a non sequitur. The term non sequitur comes from Latin, and it means, it does not follow. A non sequitur happens when a conclusion does not logically follow from what came before it. The speaker may stay on the same topic, they may sound confident, they may even sound persuasive. But, the reasoning chain is broken. Before we go any further, let's clarify what we mean by the word follow. In everyday conversation, follow often just means something comes next, or sounds related, or feels reasonable. But in logic, follow means something much stricter. When we say a conclusion follows, we mean this. If the first statement is true, the conclusion must also be true because of it. Not maybe, not emotionally, not by association, because of the reason that was given. Here's another way to think about it. If you can accept the first statement, but still reasonably doubt the conclusion, then the conclusion does not follow, and that is exactly what makes something a non sequitur. For example, it is raining outside, therefore, the ground will be wet. If the first statement is true, the conclusion must also be true because of it. That conclusion follows, but when that connection is missing, the reasoning breaks. Here's a simple example. Crime is rising in this city, therefore we should ban video games. Crime rising might be a real problem, video games might be controversial, but one does not logically lead to the other. The conclusion does not follow from the premise, that is a non sequitur. Here's another example. This person is confident when they speak, therefore, they must be correct. Confidence can make someone sound convincing, but confidence alone does not make a claim true. The conclusion is not supported by the reason given. Once again, the logic does not follow. And one more example. This product is popular, therefore, it must be safe and effective. Popularity tells us what many people like or buy. It does not tell us whether something is safe, effective, or well designed. The conclusion is not supported by the reason given. Once again, the reasoning does not follow. In each case, the statements may sound reasonable on their own, but the connection between them is missing. That missing connection is what makes an argument a non sequitur. Non sequiturs are often confused with another fallacy called a red herring. They can look similar, but they are doing very different things. Here is the key difference. A red herring pulls you away from the argument. A non sequitur breaks the argument from within. First, a non sequitur. This policy costs too much. Therefore, the people supporting it are unpatriotic. The topic stays the same, but the conclusion does not logically follow. Now, a red herring. This policy costs too much, but what about the rising crime rate? Here, the speaker changes the subject entirely. That is a distraction, not a broken conclusion. Let's take one example and fix it. Here is the non sequitur. This bridge is old, therefore it is unsafe to cross. This fails because age alone does not justify the conclusion. Now let's rewrite it so it is no longer a non sequitur. This bridge is old, and recent inspections found structural damage. Therefore, it may be unsafe to cross. Now the conclusion does follow. New information was added, the missing logical connection is supplied, the reasoning is no longer broken. Most non sequiturs are not fixed by changing the conclusion, they are fixed by adding the missing reason. When you hear an argument, ask yourself this. Does the conclusion logically follow from the reasons given? If the argument suddenly goes somewhere else, it may be a red herring, but if it stays on topic and simply stops making sense, you are probably dealing with a non sequitur. Non sequiturs matter because they can sound persuasive even when they contain no real reasoning. Recognizing them helps you think more clearly, avoid being misled, and respond calmly and logically. Sometimes all you need to ask is, how does that conclusion follow? A non sequitur is when a conclusion does not logically follow. The reasoning chain is broken. The argument fails from the inside. Not every bad argument is a trick. Sometimes it just does not follow. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and subscribe for more clear thinking. New episodes daily where we break down fallacies and build up logic. So yeah, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ooh.